Let's talk today about the best type of ad that you could possibly run for an e-commerce business. The most scientific, proven, successful, high converting ad. And that is a VSL, a video sales letter. I'm going to explain to you exactly why they work, how I use them, and how you can use them as well. So I'm going to go step by step and go through my entire process. This is going to be pretty much a whole course about VSLs. So quick note on my track record. I've done 10 million in revenue over the last 3 years. I've sold 2 brands. One of them was doing $500,000 a month. And this was done using VSL ads and high converting advertorial funnels. So I've written and edited hundreds of VSLs, and I'm going to give you everything I know in this video. So first of all, just a quick recap of what a VSL is. It's a long form advertisement, usually at least 5 minutes, up to anywhere to 60 minutes. The biggest supplement brands in the world that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, like Gundry MD and Miami MD, they're using 30 to 60 minute ads. But for e-commerce and dropshipping, 5-minute ads can still make multiple 6 figures per month very profitably. VSL just stands for video sales letter. It's the entire sales message put into one video. So we capture their attention in the hook, we retain it in the lead, we engage their interest in the lead, we educate them on the mechanisms, the real root cause of the problem, the true solution, and then we build desire through social proof, testimonials, building up our product, and then we introduce our offer and we call them to action. So you can think of the VSL as a miniature funnel. Even though it's the top of funnel of our actual customer acquisition funnel, the VSL itself has every element of a complete funnel, meaning it captures attention on cold traffic and it turns it into buying intent. Now, from there, once they come out of the VSL, once they've clicked our call to action button on our Facebook ad, we enhance that buying intent using our funnel, using our landing page, advertorial, or a quiz funnel if you're doing supplements, but usually an advertorial or a product page for e-commerce products. These funnels are highly optimized. They have custom checkout pages, high click-through rate landing pages, and that's how we boost AOV, we boost conversion rate, and we get everything ripping and rolling. So the first example I want to go over is Neuro. They're one of the biggest brands in the game. They're doing over 6 million a month in sales using VSL ads. So let's just take a quick look at one of their ads. I use Foreplay to save my ads.
Doing this can make your sciatica worse. Here's how to solve it. This is the truth many people don't know, but everyone should know about sciatica. Sciatica and hip pain are often caused by a constricted sciatic nerve, and that's a huge...
And that right there is essentially the premise of a VSL, is we're giving them the real root cause of their problem. And for the viewer who is, we captured relevant attention in the hook by talking about sciatica. And there's curiosity there, there's intrigue, but it's relevant attention, because if you're not suffering from sciatica or you're not interested in sciatica, you're not going to watch this. And then we explain to them the real root cause of it. We agitate that. And then later on, I'll break down the entire structure of how a VSL works. But I just wanted to show you an example. It's a combination of stock footage, clips from documentaries, YouTube videos, and social media content put together to enhance the script. So Neuro has very good copywriting. They sell all kinds of pain relief products in the health niche, like foot massagers, EMS pads, for sciatica, neuropathy, lymphedema. These are the big problems they target. And they have multiple products that they sell, and they do each one with a separate funnel with an entire advertorial, checkout page, everything built out for each product individually. So let's just take a quick look at the landing page that they use. So top doctor of physical therapy reveals blah, blah, blah. So we have an authority figure who's going to, and then we have a big promise. We're promising the dream outcome. The best way to relieve lymphedema, implied, there's a lot of curiosity there because we're implying some kind of solution. It's the best way to relieve lymphedema in your legs and feet fast. So we have our little promise statement there. And then it's just a lot of interesting images, and we go into a little bit of a story, and then we dive into the real root cause. That's typically the best way to capture attention. So as I mentioned before, the second part of the VSL is we want to, after we've captured attention in the hook, that's the purpose of the hook, to elicit that reaction and get their eyeballs glued to the screen, because we trigger that subconscious mind when we elicit an emotional reaction, usually through fear, curiosity, or intrigue. Then we want to retain that attention and bring them deeper into our funnel, because the longer they watch our ad, the more likely they are to buy. If someone watches the 30-second ad, the buying intent is just not going to be there unless they're already very highly aware traffic, which typically on cold traffic, they've never heard of you, especially if you're a small business. But with VSLs, we can take them from never having heard of you through the funnel of the VSL, through the structure, the proven direct response marketing principles, and we get them to purchase. So let's move on. So why do we use VSLs for cold traffic? Because cold traffic is low awareness. They've never heard of your product or your brand, And there's lots of them, right? Cold traffic for a niche like back pain or knee pain is millions of people just in the United States. So we want to be able to take that unaware traffic and educate them, get them to buy into the beliefs that we require in order for them to buy the product, and get them down to that one core belief, which is, if I buy this product, I'll solve the real root cause, which will solve the big problem, which will give me the dream outcome. Now, when you are in a low awareness market, which means cold traffic, which means you're using broad CBOs or advantage campaigns, you don't really want to be pitching your product, because you got to meet the viewer where they're at. They don't know who you are and they don't care about your product. They're in a consumption state. They're in a subconscious state where they're just consuming content. So you need to meet them where they're at and give them something that they want. So that means an engaging story, leading in with the problem mechanism, and that's how we retain that attention in the first 15 seconds. Otherwise, you're just going to get a huge drop off, and the only people you're going to capture are people who had the buying intent to begin with. And that's why most stores have a conversion rate of 1-2%. With VSLs and optimized funnels, you can get that up to 5%. Now, after we've given them what they want using an engaging story, an interesting approach to their problem, real root cause, etc., something very engaging and interesting literally from the second sentence. So right after the hook, we want to dive into something interesting. The way we do that is we don't build up. A lot of people, I see this in all types of advertising, but specifically for these e-commerce products, people build up to that lead, to some kind of an interesting point, but it doesn't matter because the viewer's not there. They're not waiting, for some big reveal. They want to be captured right away. And if you're not entertaining, you're not interesting, and you're not engaging, they're just going to scroll, and that's why you're going to have a low hook rate and a low 15-second hold rate. So in order to keep them, you need to give them something right away. So start in the middle of the story. Don't build up to the most interesting part. Write your lead. You can do your little build up and then cut out the first 10% of it, the first 50% of it, and start with your most engaging sentence. And typically that'll be a reveal of the real root cause, some kind of new information, groundbreaking study, some clinical trial, something very interesting that's going to introduce a new idea that's very relatable to them and very important to them. After we've captured that attention with an interesting lead, we want to educate them on the problem mechanism, which is another word for the real root cause of the problem. This is how we set our belief structure up, our belief chain, because then once we establish, our perspective of the real root cause, that sets us up and it sets the foundation to then provide the solution to that real root cause. Not the product, but the solution. So take, for example, back pain. If the problem mechanism for back pain is spinal compression, the spine being pressed and the nerves being pinched, the solution would not be some product, it would be spinal decompression, right? The solution is a mechanism. It's something that's physiological. How do we solve the real root cause of back pain, which is spinal compression? We decompress the spine. And that sets us up then to introduce a product that was invented by an authority figure or whatever the story is behind your product. And then comes the offer where you're actually putting a product for sale. And even then, oftentimes this can be done in a third-party indirect way. This company is selling this product. This is the result people are getting with their product. We tried it out, etc. You can take a very advertorial approach where you never even have to sell the product directly. That means higher conversion rates, much higher click-through rates, in order to get them into that funnel where you can sell them much more thoroughly. Versus if you look at, vast majority of e-commerce ads, they're pitching the product from the brand's perspective in the first 5 seconds of the ad. So that's very unprofitable. That's why people have to test hundreds of ads a week and pay, dozens of UGC creators, because there's no scientific process there. So after we've educated them on the real root cause, then we talk about the solution, and only after we've talked about the solution, we introduce the product and how it works. So here's my 3-step process that I've been using, that I've used to literally write hundreds of VSL scripts. At a certain point, I was setting up and launching 3 funnels, of course with the help of a team, but I was leading the charge. I was writing all the copy and doing the creative directing for 3 full funnels with a VSL ad, a 5-minute ad, an advertorial, a product page, a checkout page, and then 3 upsells every week. So 3 tests per week. It's totally doable. You don't have to go so crazy, but that's how I was able to get so many winning products and offers that were profitable right away at 30-40% margin that I couldn't even scale all of them. I had to just take a few, the best ones, and scale those. So step 1 is assembly. We want to assemble our 5 big copy elements. Those are our big problem. What's the big problem that they're dealing with? We want to call that out and make it real. Because if we don't bring that top of mind, there's no reason for them to take action. There's no reason for them to watch. There's no reason for them to get new information. We want to bring that big problem top of mind, and that sets the frame of, we're going to give you information to help you overcome this, to help you understand this better. Whatever it may be, there's a reason that they're watching, right? And the reason that they're watching is never to buy your product. Nobody watches the advertisement to buy your product. They watch it because it's interesting and relevant to them. And then throughout that process of consuming the advertisement, they get to a point where your product is the solution to the problems that you've highlighted. So after we have the big problem, that's physical and emotional. So for back pain, it would be the pinching, burning, stabbing pain, as well as the lack of mobility, the lack of freedom, the loss of your favorite activities, etc. Then we have the problem mechanism. That's the real root cause of the problem. So for back pain, it would be spinal compression. For knee pain, it would be cartilage degeneration. This is always based on clinical studies and trials. You can find these online on PubMed or on Google Research. There's, thousands of studies being created every week. And to be honest, there's many different root causes for most problems because nothing is just a one size fits all. It's a holistic thing, right, when it comes to physiology. And you can be very creative with the way you name the root cause of the problem to make it much more interesting. So instead of spinal compression, although that is a great name, you can say something like lumbar compression or barolumbar pressure. Then we have the solution mechanism. This is how we solve the problem mechanism. So in the case of cartilage degeneration, we want to provide, the solution would be to provide the body with whatever nutrients or supplemental procedures or whatever it is that can revive the cartilage. So it's not solving knee pain, it's solving the root cause of knee pain, which is much easier to believe. Versus if you're just making big claims that, this is going to solve your knee pain or this is going to make you lose weight. No, your weight gain is caused by this one root cause, and this solution solves the real root cause. So you're indirectly promising to solve the big problem, but without all the skepticism and the denial that entails. So the solution mechanism is the resolution of the problem mechanism. Then we have our big promise, right? It's a chain. You have this big problem. It's caused by this, but that can be solved by this, which will give you this, which will give you the big promise, which is the dream outcome. Again, it's also physical and emotional. So for back pain, it's not just that your back pain is going to go away, although that is what you may think what they want. What they really want is that freedom, that mobility, that joy of living, being able to take advantage of life, that self-confidence, the way they're treated by other people. That's what they really want, because the physical leads to the emotional, and the emotional is what's real, right? The physical is only a problem because it affects the emotional. How many physical handicaps do a lot of people have that they don't even know about because it's not an emotional problem for them until someone points it out, for example. So the emotional dream outcome is what they're really looking for. And oftentimes that's the core things for dream outcomes are freedom. So that's either freedom to move your body, freedom to be mobile, freedom to enjoy life, freedom to have money in order to use it, to be free to travel and buy things, whatever it is. Freedom is usually the main dream outcome, and then approval from people, self-confidence, feeling safe. These are the kind of dream outcomes that people are looking for, and the big problem is what's holding them back from that. So we're educating them on how we can get them from big problem to dream outcome through the mechanisms. And then finally we have proof, which is studies, authority figures, social proof, etc. So step 2 is our structure. So once we've assembled our big 5 copy elements, which if you're currently advertising and you're scaling, you definitely have these. You just need to gather them and put each one into a concise sentence. So then we have our structure. And what a structure is, it's an outline. It's a framework, usually 10 points, that are the different sections of the VSL. This makes it much easier to write. So you don't start with a blank Google Doc, you start with a 10-point outline that you fill in with copy. And that leads us to our third point, which is filling in the structure with copywriting. So let's look at an example of a VSL structure. So this is an 11-point structure for a 5-minute Facebook ad that I've used very successfully. We start with the hook. This is a great example of a good hook. Why people with problem are switching to the solution described with a unique mechanism. So we want to describe the solution in a unique, kind of gimmicky way that's very interesting and immediately engaging. And then we're calling out, remember the hook is there to call out relevant attention, to capture relevant attention. If we just captured attention in general with some viral crazy clip, would be, you'd have very low CPMs because Facebook would be showing it to everybody because everyone wants to watch that viral clip, but then nobody's staying afterwards. That's why we want to capture relevant attention, that we can capture their attention and then draw them in the hook. That's why we can usually call out the problem or the target avatar, people who are dealing with the problem. That's how we capture that attention. That's going to be relevant, and match up with the rest of our VSL. Then we have our lead. We want to meet them where their beliefs are at and then shift them to a new one. So for example, we can say like most of us are told that our problem is caused by this, or the medical industry has been telling us that this problem is caused by this. But it turns out, groundbreaking research, etc., we shift that belief with some kind of proof element, with something shocking or new. And then we get them to shift to a new idea. So Gundry is very good at this. He'll say, for example, you need animal meats to build muscle, right? And then he'll contradict that, and he'll go against it. They say, well, not really. I love meat, but gorillas don't eat meat. They're the strongest mammal in the world. Or that's not even true. They're the strongest primate on the planet. Horses. He'll give real examples. He'll demonstrate the fact that the belief that we're currently believing, the common sense belief, is wrong. And then anytime you go against a belief in a way that's friendly and smooth, you open the door to insert a new belief. And then that leads into the VSL, where they're selling a vegan protein powder. So after the lead, we have the problem mechanism. Now we've captured their attention, we've retained it, we have them watching, we're past 15, 30 seconds. A lot of them are going to stay now, right? Because the drop-off graph looks like that, right? A lot of people drop off immediately, and then we mostly retain, and it's a slow drop-off after that. Then we introduce the problem mechanism, the real root cause, and we agitate the problem. You're dealing with XYZ situation, and it's actually because of this root cause. And we introduce all the mechanisms are introduced with some kind of study or novelty. New research, new trial, new clinical study shows that the real root cause of XYZ problem is actually this little known, and then you name the mechanism. Then we want to compare it to inferior alternatives, which are other solutions, like for back pain, it would be chiropractors or physical therapy or stretching that don't address the real root cause. They just mask the symptoms. So that's reinforcing, the believability of the problem mechanism and discounting any other solution. Then we introduce the solution with an authority figure or hero story. Then we build credibility. We talk about all the effort that went into it. We build up the perceived value of the solution. We talk about how it works. And then we talk about, we give them a testimonial. I like to do long form, third person testimonials where we're talking about, John's story with XYZ product. John was suffering from this. This is how he was feeling every day. He was starting to give up hope, emotional pain. We're reaching a climax. And then right before he's going to give up hope and throw in the towel, a trusted third party recommends the solution. So that's kind of the hero's journey, right? The surprise savior comes in, and it's either a friend or a doctor or some kind of expert who recommends the product. They're skeptical, but they have nothing to lose. They're about to give up anyway, so they give it a try. They feel the effects of it in the short term, and then they get XYZ benefits over the longer term, next few weeks and months, and then eventually they achieve that dream emotional outcome. And what does their life look like? We want to be specific, the real situations that this person is now getting, etc. And then we cut to the end result. What kind of benefits are you going to get? How's your life going to look like? What's the emotional transformation you're going to undergo by using this solution, by buying this product? We address skepticism, and then we do our close, our crossroads close, reverse risk, price framing, price drop, urgency, scarcity, all the tactics that go into a good close to get them to buy and take action now. We do all that. And then, here's an example of what this would look like. It's 6 pages in a Google Doc. That's about 5 or 6 minutes for a VSL. And this is like how we flesh out that structure into an actual script. All right, onwards we go. So what are the secrets to a high converting script? In general, you want to keep your copy very short, simple, and concise. You want to be able to take, what seems like a complex idea that needs a lot of information to explain and cut it down into as few sentences as possible. We want to be writing always to the subconscious mind, speaking to the subconscious mind, because that's the part of us that we use when we consume. We're not analyzing, we're just consuming, and we're looking for these waves of emotion. So like curiosity will keep us there, and then if we get bored, we'll immediately act on that boredom and scroll. So we want to be communicating to the subconscious mind, which means it needs to be simple, easy to understand, common words, not because people don't understand complexity, it's because the subconscious mind, in order to stay in that state where people want to be when they're consuming, they want to be kind of in that flow state, that unconscious, zombie state, like when you're scrolling on social media. People don't want to be snapped out of that by some complex, abstract idea. So keep everything real and vivid, and every piece of information you give, explain how it applies to the viewer. If it's a problem, how does that manifest in their life? How does that show up? And then how can they solve it? So if we're giving the solution, what does that actually look like in their life? How does this product benefit them? So don't talk about the product, talk about what the product does for them. This is simple stuff, but it's very often overlooked. And we want to make it very easy to visualize the mechanisms, both in our scenes using 3D animations, which I'll get into in a bit, how we do the video editing. And then also in the way we explain it, we want to use metaphors, we want to make it real. So for something like back pain and spinal compression, we'd say something like, imagine a 100-pound weight crushing down the sensitive discs in your lower spine every day for years. That's the problem mechanism. Now imagine that weight being lifted off for the first time, and those spinal joints stretching out, getting the relief they deserve, and the body sending all those healing molecules, nutrients, and blood flow to the damaged part of your spine. That's how we can really use metaphors and visualization to make it easy to understand and feel the mechanisms in your body. And that's what creates belief. Because without belief, there's no reason for them to buy the product. With belief, it's a logical next step to buy the product. We don't want to use any filler copy. So when you go through your VSL script, or any type of ad script, if there's a sentence or word that doesn't add anything, that you immediately look at it and say, this is just there to be there, take it out. It's probably going to improve your script 99% of the time. Every word and sentence should have a purpose, either to bring them deeper into the message, right? To open loops, to make it engaging, to have smooth transitions, or to be giving them new information, new ideas, or selling the benefits of the product. And then the way we keep engagement high is that we build tension and then we release it. And when do we release it? When we change to a new section. So remember when I talked about the structure, how we do hook and then lead, and then we build tension in the lead. So this is the problem you're dealing with. This is how it feels in your daily life, etc. You're reaching a climax of tension and negative emotion, and then we release that by saying, but there is actually hope, because there's a new approach that's actually changing lives, and it's targeting the real root cause. And then we release tension again when we build up there. But how can you use it? These alternatives don't work. Where can we get spinal decompression that actually works? And then you release tension and you say, well, this expert created this XYZ solution. So it's waves of tension. That's how we keep retention high. So let's talk about how to put together the actual video, because this is also very important. The script is number one, the video is number two, and then the media buying is, almost irrelevant at this point. It's just broad everything. So we hire actors and UGC creators to film B-roll and product demo shots. So videos of them, clips of them using the product, wearing it, using it in positive situations when we describe the benefits, and then showing them in pain and struggling when we're describing the problem. Because otherwise you'll have incongruence. When you're talking about a problem in the script, you want the video and the audio and the music and the lighting to match the tone of your script. So if you're talking about negatives and then you're showing, you're talking about all the problems that come with back pain because you want to relate to the viewer. You essentially want to say to them, I know what you're going through. This is the problem you're dealing with. I get it. I understand this problem. And that makes it very easy for them to buy into the message when they truly feel like you understand them, because you're mirroring their situation back to them. That's what a good listener does, a good communicator does. That's what keeps people engaged. We want to show them by explaining to them their own problem better than they could even explain it. That's how we get their trust. We build that rapport. So each scene should match the corresponding part of that script. We get these clips from documentaries, YouTube videos, social media content. If you have any type of skilled editor, they know how to source tons of clips. There's also stock footage, but the less stock footage you use, typically the better your video will perform. In the first 15 seconds, we want to use fast scene transitions between 1 and 3 seconds to retain that attention and keep it interesting. And then once we retain the attention and we want to start educating, we switch to 5 seconds. A little bit longer for each scene. That gives us more room to show things, to explain things, rather than just retaining attention. Both are very important, but to do them properly, that's the hard part. To know when to go from fast attention, retention, to then, education and more the waves of tension. Tension, I'm saying this word so much. Retention, attention, tension. And then we also want to use 3D animations, especially when we describe the mechanisms. And that means when you're showing the spine being compressed, you could show a 3D animation of the anatomy of the spine coming down and pinching those nerves. And then like red lights showing where the nerves are inflamed. That makes it very easy to understand and visualize these mechanisms. So a big part of these VSLs is that we want to be educating the prospect on how the problem works. You got to be providing that value in the form of engaging and interesting content in your ad, as well as educating them to bring them down that belief chain. So let's take a look at another example of a VSL. This is from Miami MD, a $40 million skincare company that's made all their money through VSL ads like this one.
Never use lotion on crepey.
I want you to just pay attention in the first 10 seconds, how quickly the scenes change, how many graphics show up on screen, and just how interesting and engaging it is. This is how they capture attention and bring you into a 20-minute ad.
When I tell my patients to avoid moisturizing their paper-thin skin, they look at me like I'm crazy. However, after I share with them the truth behind why this good skin habit makes their crepey skin even worse, they throw away their moisturizers. Here's why. While it's true your skin needs moisture to...
So that's a great example of coming in. There's the 3D animation that I'm talking about. And then just to show you the kind of landing page that they go to, they do a quiz funnel, the same as Gundry MD. Most supplements and most people who do have a VSL over 30 minutes or over 20 minutes really are going to be doing some kind of quiz funnel. And then we have our product selection page. So let's continue. Now, which offers are best suited for VSLs? Typically, you'll want to use VSLs, direct response marketing, and hyper-optimized funnels for problem solving and functional products. That means products that do something that provide a certain function. For example, massagers, red light therapy wands or face masks or skincare devices, braces for elbows, knees, pain relief, heating and cooling wraps for migraines, for inflammation, for arthritis, compression socks and sleeve for lymphedema, for edema, for arthritis. For pets, any kind of pain relieving product, it's providing some kind of benefit through what the product does. It has a built-in solution mechanism. The health of the pets, different water bowls or filters, and then pet supplements, and then any kind of supplement is the perfect product because it has a built-in mechanism. The supplement is the mechanism. Because when you have the big problem is caused by a deficiency in X molecule. The solution is to supplement that molecule and bring it up to healthy levels that will solve the big problem and resolve the deficiency. And you do that by buying the supplement. So that's why you see supplement companies like Gundry MD, all the Golden Hippo brands, all these celebrity endorsed supplements. They're so effective and they scale to 7 figures plus per month just on Facebook, on social media with VSLs because they're so good. They just click so well with the VSL system. So here are some of the top brands that are using VSLs right now in e-commerce. Neuro doing over $6 million a month in sales, using short to medium length VSLs and advertorial funnels, and they're in the health and the pain relief niche. Danely, they're selling a belt for sciatica, doing multiple 6 figures per month, around $600,000 or $700,000 in sales. And they're also in the health and pain relief niche with a functional product. Healthy Lab Co., don't let the name fool you. They're also in home security, gadgets. They're doing everything. They're also doing 6 figures per month, hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. And they have the same system. They just duplicate for every product they test. The same structure for their VSLs, the same design, layout, and structure for their advertorials, their checkout. They have a bundle selection, custom checkout with order bumps. Most of these brands do. Danely does a product page and Shopify checkout, but most direct response brands will be doing a custom checkout on Funnelish or Checkout Champ. Prepared Hero, home safety gadgets, huge brand, 8-figure brand, using miniature 2 to 3 minute VSLs, selling things like fire blankets, home security cameras, etc. Miami MD, which we just reviewed, huge skincare company doing over $4 million a month with VSLs. Just a few ads, they're making all this money with a few ads that you can make within 1 month. Yeah, and these are high production ads where they have a real dermatologist, they go to a studio, they film it, they probably spend $20,000 just filming the VSL. And then it runs for years. Some of their VSLs have been running literally for years. Gundry MD, probably one of the biggest direct response supplement brands on the planet. They have been using VSLs for like 10 years now, and they're just crushing it. They're always coming out with new products, new offers. They put a 60-minute VSL or a 40-minute VSL out there, and all they do is test hooks and leads, and that VSL runs for years profitably. And then all the Golden Hippo brands founded by Craig Clemens, top copywriter and marketer, one of the best in the world. And they're all supplements endorsed by some kind of celebrity or an authority figure. So they own brands like Dr. Marty Pets, I think the Steve Harvey one, I'm not sure, Elevate You. The Golden Hippo portfolio is a gold mine of, they're the top of the world at direct response. So if you want more information, check out the rest of my channel. I give away tons of actionable, valuable stuff on how to actually implement VSLs, how to implement your VSL production system, all this stuff, build your e-commerce team, your product pages, your phone sales. I give it all away. And then I also have a private community where I go more in depth and I go even deeper, and I actually provide all the SOPs, resources. It just gives me the opportunity to go a lot deeper in the courses, trainings, downloadable funnel templates, my swipe file, a collection of ads, and then weekly calls where I do Q&A, and it's a community of 7 and 9 figure entrepreneurs. I love this community. This is where you can get the most access to me. I'm super active here, and I'm constantly, posting stuff, sharing stuff, answering questions, and doing VSL feedback for free inside the group. So check that out. The link is in the description box. So I hope you enjoyed this quick masterclass on VSLs. I hope you learned a thing or two, and try them out for your business. If you're currently running ads, it's very easy. You take the angles that are working, the messaging, the big problem, the real root cause that's working for you right now, and then just do a VSL ad. You don't even need to do a whole comprehensive funnel. Just make a 5-minute ad and use that structure that I showed earlier, that 11-point structure, and you'll be good to go. And then once your VSL starts working, you test them in a CBO with at least 5 hooks, maybe a couple leads, so you can have maybe 10 variations total. You test them in a CBO for a few $100s, and you'll definitely get some some data and results back, or be profitable right away. But even if you're not, a few simple changes can often take a VSL from losing or break even to very profitable. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment or DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and check out the private community if you really want to implement this stuff, you want to get hands-on help, and my top resources, which are not available anywhere else. Goodbye.